Good evening and welcome to the Liverpool Euro show of LFC Daytrippers. I am your host, Mr. Friday Night, Chris Brack, and tonight I am joined by the nicest man in YouTube, although I do wind him up. It's Callum from Coppish. How you doing, matey?
Not too bad, brother. Thank you very much for having me on. Apologies I couldn't be here last week, but I'm so excited for this. Looking forward to this trip down memory lane.
Yeah, well, after last week's show, we said 2005 should be all right. It was 2.5 hours, which as you can imagine, Paul Gav had to edit 2.5 hours of me talking, which is a bit unfair. So we thought you and me might be just a better idea.
Yeah.
So we kind of thought after the high of 2005, let's do 2007 because we love to have a bit of a laugh.
Yeah,
but,
nothing like a downer, is there?
No, there's not. No, but in fairness, even in these Euro runs where obviously we don't win it, there are some cracking games that people forget about, and people tend to forget about because we didn't win it. You know, there are some games, as Ria would say, make you sit and stand up because they're that good. I still have not quite worked out how that works, but that's how it is. Yeah. So never mind. Right, listen, you guys in the chat, we're going to go through 2007, the road to Athens, which was pretty much a bit of a mad thing. I had all sorts of craziness going on, which we will pick up, including some fun with golf clubs. But listen, this is also your guys' show, so please let us know, where you watch games, funny stories, memories from it. It's what makes the show perfect. So going into 2007, obviously we made a few signings. We also had Zenden, who was actually fit this season, which was handy. Mark Gonzalez, who we thought was the next big thing, not quite. Peter Crouch, and obviously we had Robbie Fowler, which, what more do you need if you got Robbie Fowler? That was just getting everyone excited. And to be fair, quite a nice kit.
Yeah, so that era, we were still in Reebok at that time, weren't we?
No, it was the Adidas.
Was that the first Adidas one?
It's Adidas with the big
collar. You're right, because Bellamy had to get his one cut because he's got such a short neck. He couldn't have the collar.
The thing that I can't unsee now, because someone pointed out to me, if you look at the Chelsea blue kit, it's the same kit.
Yeah, I know.
Without the collars, then.
I know.
No.
That kit was beautiful, though. And to just go back to your signings, Liverpool signings, was it Mark Gonzalez? Fowler came in the January, didn't he? Came in the January. Rafa back in the January.
I thought he came January last year because he couldn't play in the FA Cup final because he was cup-tied.
That's right.
So this is his first full season because he had number 9 back on his shirt.
Yeah, because he scored the first goal of our season. We drew 1-1 with Sheffield United in the league. He scored from the penalty spot.
Yeah, which upset Neil Warnock, which I'm all for. Anything upsets Neil Warnock.
I was going to say, what doesn't upset Neil Warnock when it comes to Liverpool? But yeah, Mark Gonzalez, I thought was going to be the best left winger to ever live. The way he was hyped up. And
that's already making me feel all that first comment. I was in nappies. Oh no, it's like having Matt back from Tottenham blog. He says a lot of things like that.
No, I wasn't in nappies then. I wish I was, but no, I was early teens though.
I was in my 20s. I'd finished university and I had my first house.
Oh, fair enough.
With the future Mrs. B. With the future Mrs. B. So oh God, I feel old. And also,
sorry, mate.
You find it hard to believe. I wasn't as chilled out as well watching Liverpool then. I was very, very angry. And Jamie, a great segue. I am wearing merch. That's right. It's
a nice top.
So this is the new LFC Daytrippers polo. So I finally got some. So please do have a look at the shop. And especially check out the Sienna range. Anything you buy from the Sienna range goes straight to Sienna. We are trying to get her to 120k. I had a look. I think they're getting close to. I think it's 45 or maybe even 50k now. So there's still a bit of a way to go. But more than anything else, as much as we have a laugh and a joke here, Sienna steps. That's the main aim for us completely.
Indeed.
Cool. So let's. We're going to go through the qualifier and the group stage quite quickly because it wasn't that actually for Liverpool that dramatic. The fun and games happened after that. Probably the hardest one was actually Maccabi Haifa, who we beat 2-1 at home, but we needed Mark Gonzalez to get the winner with like a minute to go, and they went 1-0 up. They were crap.
Yeah,
they were crap. But it was like, what's going on here? Yeah, what's going on? I mean, Mark Gonzalez was a good goal, actually. Fair as Meg the keeper. You're like, oh, we've got a bargain here. Didn't quite work out that way. And then the second leg was a routine 1-1. We took the lead, and I think pretty much Maccabi Haifa kind of gave up then and went, that's us done. So in the qualifiers, you're like, great, done. What more can you want? And then we were in a group with PSV, Galatasaray, and Bordeaux. So not the most challenging of groups, although Galatasaray even then still had the fear of Galatasaray away is quite a tough game, and it was the last game of the group, so you were kind of hoping, let's get it boxed off so we don't have to worry about Galatasaray. But group-wise, I think the only thing spectacular about the group was the Galatasaray home game, where I'll let you go through it. Probably one of the best Anfield goals we saw.
Yes, Peter Crouch, that bicycle kick. Woo! Beautiful goal. I'm trying to remember because I know he scored 2 that season. The other one he scored against Bolton.
That was after it.
I know it was Pennant who crossed the one for Bolton, wasn't it? I can't remember who crossed this one. Was it Finnan who crossed this one for him against Galatasaray?
All right, let me have a look on LFC history because I didn't check that one. Because Pennant got quite a few assists in that. He was the second highest assist getter with 3, I think.
Yeah, he was. And I know Crouchy got another goal in that game. Luis Garcia got a volley, I believe, that bounced up over the goalkeeper.
Should have known. It was Steve Finnan.
Was it Finn? Yes, it was.
Who had the most assists that year with 4 in the Champions League. You know? Steve Finnan, if you never saw Finnan play, he was Mr. Consistency. No frills. Yeah, no frills, no excitement about him, but just defended really well. Interestingly, getting Hossomy was probably the best thing we ever did because it gave Finn a bit of a kick up the arse to up his level. But the thing with Finn, even when you put on his left foot, he still put a decent ball in. Yeah. He's a very underrated fella.
Yeah, I'll be honest, in my lifetime, we've had Jason McAteer. These are ones I can remember. Jason McAteer, Marcus Babbel, Steve Finnan, and Trent, and Glenn Johnson as well, to be fair to him. We've had some good right backs. Arbeloa as well. Arbeloa was there for a short time and played left back sometimes as well. But Finnan, for me, is top 3 out of that list personally. Yeah,
look, he never let you down. He never did. That's what we kind of thought when we got Klein. He was going to be the next Steve Finnan. That was my hope. And it didn't quite work. He was still solid, Klein, but attacking wise, he wasn't at the level of a Steve Finnan.
No, not at
all. I think Abdullah Mohammed sums up perfectly. The Milner of right backs. He missed consistency. Yeah. It's not always fashionable. It's not always fun. But if you saw Steve Finnan at right back, you went, that's all right. You never worried about it, did you? So, but after that, Liverpool, we beat Bordeaux home and away. We beat PSV, and then we got beat by Galatasaray. But the game was, we were already qualified.
Finish was on 13 points.
13 points, which you can't sort of quibble at. Really, it's very rare. The only other slightly sad thing about that was this is the last time Luis Garcia actually played in Europe for us after the PSV game. Unfortunately, it was we got battered by Arsenal in the League Cup, didn't we? 6-3 in early January, and he did his ACL. Yeah. And sadly, he was sold after that, so he never actually got to say goodbye. It was a bit of a sad ending to quite a mercurial talent. Definitely a cult hero. Scorer of great goals. Also, highly frustrated, but you forgave him his frustration because Garcia was on 3 goals in 5 group games, so he loved that competition. Listen, he didn't do bad for himself. He got himself in the Spain squad. I think he went to Atletico Madrid. I think he went to in the end, but I do think, especially when he came to the final, I think that's something we missed in the final was a Louis Garcia. Freudian slipper. A Garcia. He's just, as Carragher would say, he'd frustrate the life of you, but then he'd score a worldie out of nothing. You'd be like, that's fantastic. You need players like that.
I almost missed him. I like Luis Garcia. We got Ben Ayoun to replace him, and Ben Ayoun did well at Liverpool. Yeah, you just kind of wish we had both players because they were very different, but both very effective. And having that extra player in Luis Garcia who could score goals would have been vital for us that season.
It would have been. But look, we went into after we did that, we finished 3rd that year. We were quite inconsistent. It was a bit like this year, really. We finished comfortably 3rd, but miles off a title challenge. We were nowhere near that, and we were crap in the cups this year. I think our FA Cup defence was pretty short and sweet. Yeah. So January comes around, you think, right, done well in the group, and we get Barcelona, which was, oh Lord, and just to put this is a Barcelona side that had Valdez, Marquez, Puyol, Thiago Motta, young Xavi, Ronaldinho, who some don't think's elite, but we won't go into that, will we, Cal? So just drop that one in there.
I'd love to know who that guy is. What an idiot that guy is.
Deco, who underrated Deco. He didn't quite do it as Chelsea as he could do, because Deco was brilliant with a bit of snide, and obviously a very young Messi. And then Javier Saviola played the scorer for us against Monaco, because before the game, Eto'o had a big falling out with Rijkaard, and I remember he was sat in the stands watching it. I mean, I was made up
over the moon when I saw that. Over the moon.
Eto'o was lethal, and you were thinking like, well, that's one less thing to worry about. But also in that January, we bought Arbeloa.
Yes.
And the main reason,
if I'm not mistaken, sorry to cut you. Did we sign Skirtle that January as well?
I can't remember.
Because I know we signed Aga the January before.
I thought it was the year after we signed him. I don't think he's in any of the squad. I don't think he's in any of the squads. Okay, I think it was the year after, because he pretty much went straight in. It was Havertz Waterloo made his debut, which
there'd been a season after then, because that was the season Lucas came in the summer as well. So yeah. So, but the thing with Arbeloa was the main reason Rafa signed him, and that's all the talk was no one really heard of Arbeloa, because Spanish football was on there, but it probably wasn't as heavily full as it is now. Was he'd marked Messi out of a game for his club, and that was a bit unheard of. So we actually put him in at left back, despite the fact he was a right back, and just said mark Messi. I mean, this was Messi, who was only like 19. Yeah. But he was still brilliant. You could see he was going to be a world superstar.
At 19, you were going, this guy's scary. So going into the game, were you confident? I watched this at home, I think. I was too nervous to go to the pub to watch this one.
See, I watched this at home. I'll be honest, in that little phase, after winning the Champions League, sort of with Rafa Benitez, I went into Europe every season. Maybe a bit naive, but I went in thinking we're going to win the Champions League every season. Like I never really went in that concerned, because Rafa just seemed like a tactical genius, and he's just, I don't know. I thought we had a chance. I didn't think we'd go to Nou Camp and win, but I thought, right, we can avoid losing there, and then we can bring them back to Anfield, and we can do them at Anfield. I've had every faith that we'd do them at Anfield, but what happened was the exact opposite. We went there, we did them at Nou Camp, and then
I seem to remember Mr. Paul Merson having humble pie say the Scousers are out, they're going to get absolutely smashed. And you're sort of thinking like, I remember this is the Barcelona side. They'd only won the European Cup once when we played them. They weren't, as people think, they weren't the European roles that people make them out to. A lot of Barcelona's European roles has been quite recent. Yeah. They only had one European Cup before then, so being in Europe wasn't. But the lead up wasn't the best. We went for a team bonding session in Spain, which resulted in Craig Bellamy trying to wrap a golf club around John Ariza's head.
Yeah.
And all over the fact that John Ariza didn't want to do karaoke. It sounds like
that's the most Craig Bellamy thing you'll ever hear, isn't it?
Yeah. But to be fair to Craig, that was the real trouble we have him. Actually, he was pretty good as goals, actually. For all
both times.
And Bellamy, whenever you talk to him, because I mean, we'll get on to where he didn't play in the biggest game of the season. He's very complimentary about Rafa. I think he thinks Rafa saved his career a little bit, and obviously I think he does have a connection with Liverpool as well. So you're a bit like, that's what it was. But so you're thinking like, we're playing Barcelona, they're really good, we're a bit inconsistent, and two of our players are going to kill each other with a golf club. You're thinking, well, this is going to be a routine, isn't it? So, and this hurt me a little bit. And listen, it's nothing against Daniel Agger, because Daniel Agger was a very good defender, but this is when we were trying to phase Hyypiä out, and I love Sami Hyypiä, and we all thought his legs had gone. To be fair to it was only this season, because after this, Agger surprisingly got injured again, and Hyypiä just carried on for another few years. I mean, that's how good Agger had to play to display Sami Hyypiä was saying something, because there was rumours that Rafa might have just gone, just stick on three centre backs and hope for the best.
Yeah. No, I mean, when I saw Agger in the team sheet, again, I was a bit like you. I was thinking, oh, Hupia, how are we dropping Hupia? But I think the first time I watched Agger play, he played against Newcastle and we won that game 3-0. And I remember him getting the ball from the centre-back position and driving through the middle of the pitch, laying it off to the wing, and then someone crossed it in and he almost scored from the cross. I remember just thinking, our centre-backs don't do that. What's he doing?
No.
Like,
whereas now...
That's the norm now.
That's the norm. That's what Van Dijk and Gomez do quite a lot for us. Well, Gomez when his knees aren't falling apart.
Yeah. But you just like, there's something about Agger, and I was thinking Rafa's pulled off another good signing here.
Because now I'm not saying the same players before. I mean, it'll get clipped up anyway. It normally does, but that's what United had with Rio Ferdinand or Arsenal had with their centre backs. Is they do that. Chelsea's would. And you'd like go, ours don't do that. Yeah. Ours are very. Yeah. Very rudimental. Very rudimental. They do the basics, but doing really well. So when you saw that, I thought, it's a bit different. So you can see why he got picked ahead of Sammy. I mean, obviously, being a big Sammy fan, I was a little bit gutted. But I mean, the team we picked, solid back four, the usual ones. But the midfield, when you look at it, is Reece on the left, Gerrard on the right, Momo Sissoko, and Xavi Alonso. I forgot Momo Sissoko was still there because you always think in your head after he got kicked in the eye. He played the FA Cup final. He went, but it was actually this year he played, and then he went.
This was the game he got kicked in the eye.
No, that was I thought it was Atletico Madrid the year before.
No, I'm pretty sure it was this game.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. So I remember him playing. So Momo, growing up for me, I loved Momo Sissoko. Growing up, we had pretty much the same physical build. So my friends used to call me Sissoko for a laugh. So I just naturally gravitated to him. I loved Momo Sissoko, and then. In that game, he pocketed Ronaldinho. And I just remember thinking, this is crazy. Like, he's played so well here. He's bullied their midfield. I'm almost certain this is the game where he got kicked in the eye. Because I remember him having to come off late in the game because of it.
Well, the check is, if Laura Duffy's in the chat, she'll tell us in a minute. And whatever Laura Duffy says is probably true, to be fair. Dan J, we're up to the last 16. We kind of breezed over the group stage because apart from Crouch's overhead goal, not a lot happened. And Dicko with a great point. Honcho and Hippie is massively underrated. That season 2001 is massively underrated. I mean, that's to me was I think I wrote an article about it. Lots of spelling mistakes because it's me. but it was I call 2001 the birth of modern Liverpool. Before 2001, Liverpool didn't do Europe. Yeah. And when I say Liverpool, I mean Premier League Liverpool. I'm not talking Liverpool the 80s. Premier League Liverpool didn't do Europe. We used to get knocked out by Brøndby and Stuttgart and some clubs you'd never heard of. We didn't do anything in the cups. We occasionally got a League Cup and we finished fourth. That was Liverpool. That was Liverpool for me until I was about 17. And then this and that season. But that is for another time. But good point. Hippie and Honcho were very, very underrated. So game kicks off. And I've got to be honest, the opening 20 minutes scared the living crap out of me because they just battered us. Yeah. Ronaldinho got the ball and, Stephen did quite well against it, but, he made Stephen at times look silly and not many people did that. Messi, to be fair, was kept pretty quiet. And then the goal comes in from Deco. It's pretty piss poor mark, to be honest. I mean, how Deco waltzes behind Agger and Arbeloa, you're like, oh, Jesus. And you are thinking, I'm then like, my worst fears are coming to light here. This is going to be not fun. This is what everyone wants to see.
Yeah, I still don't feel like that. I mean, again, maybe I was just a bit naive, but again, in Europe, I just felt we were a completely different team to what we were in the Premier League. And I just remember thinking to myself, right, we're playing terrible and we've conceded. If we can up the level a little bit, we'll be able to get at them because Barcelona were brilliant, but you could still get at Barcelona. Like, they weren't invincible. They weren't the Pep Guardiola Barcelona. This was a Barcelona that had great players, but Ronaldinho was a bit lazy, so you knew you could get at that side of the pitch. Messi wasn't tracking back. You knew you could get down that side of the pitch as well. And the midfield, I think, it was at defence. They had Marquez, who wasn't the best.
Marquez wasn't good. Yeah, Marquez. He played to long. He did. Yeah, he played till 35, I think. Yeah, but I think he went back to Mexico. And I think he played on Mexico's losing his 40s.
Probably.
I think he plays a World Cup. I'm sure he's one of the oldest players to play in a World Cup.
Yeah, could be.
But he wasn't PK, was he?
No,
I mean,
no.
That was the difference. So, but then Steve Finnan gets a cross in, and Craig Bellamy gets in quite a weak header. And I still can't work out what Valdez does. He tries to catch it
and then push it forward.
But he catches it, falls in the goal, throws it out like he's not done it, and Count taps it in.
Yeah.
And it's given. And Craig Bellamy with the most iconic of goal celebrations with the golf swing, which, if you haven't heard, if you listen to the Anfield Wrap, quite a lot of the lads who went to that game heard about it and all put a bet on Bellamy to score with a golf swing. Apparently made quite a lot of money because it was sort of everyone thought that was going to happen. So you're like, wow, okay, 2-1. We get half time 1-1. I was quite relaxed then. I was thinking, if we concede now,
we're good.
Away goals is good. Which is, it's a bit mad that UEFA are now thinking of taking away goals off, because I like the away goal rule. The bit I don't like about the away goal rule is, I think if, for example, you draw 1-1 first leg, you draw 1 second leg, then you have extra time. I think the away goal should go then. I think if after 2 full 90 minutes you're still drawing, it's now winner takes all. It's not the away goal; it's just who wins it now. And people say it's unfair to the team away for second leg, but that's kind of luck of a draw, and also that's the benefit of finishing top of your group. You tend to get the home draw second, so it's a small advantage. So sort of thinking, right, okay, we're doing okay. Let's see how we're going to do. I didn't think we'd make any changes. I mean, bench-wise, the bench was quite interesting. We had Gonzalez, we had Pennant, Mascherano. I mean, people forget Mascherano didn't start in the new camp, which you think it's a bit of a mad one, really. But you've got Sissoko.
We'd only recently signed him, though, because we didn't actually sign him in January. I think we signed him in February, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, so...
he was quite new.
And then we have Bolo Zenden, who, people forget... People mock him, but Bolo played a lot in Europe for us.
Bolo was good.
The nickname my family gave him was Safety.
Yeah.
Because he was very, very... He wasn't going to run down a wing and take a player on. It was all keep the ball safe and sensible, which works in Europe, but sometimes it's bloody frustrating to watch. Yeah. And Crouchy, who, became our top goal scorer in the tournament with 7, was on the bench. So you're thinking, okay, so we've got options off the bench.
That's not a bad bench, all things considered. To be honest.
It's not really, is it? Yeah.
It's not a bad bench.
And then Dirk Kuyt, who misses an absolute sitter. Ball falls him, open goal, and he heads it. To be honest, how he heads it over and wide, I will never know. It's the worst. I mean, he tries to eat his own fingers. He's that upset over it with the goals. I mean, the mad thing is, he did everything Dirk Kuyt but score. I think it sort of summed his career up a little bit. He just didn't get enough goals. And then pretty piss weak header from, I think it's Puyol, falls to Bellamy, kicks it across to, and all I can remember seeing was someone swinging the foot and it going in, and then realising it was Risa, who didn't have a right foot. He didn't have a right foot, so standing on. And then
top corner as well.
Then he thought, how iconic was that? The two lads that tried to whack each other with a golf club end up scoring the winning goal. Yeah. And at that time, we were still the only English sides to win in Barcelona. We've done a couple of signs since then, but it was a bit of a proud record. So
I still think we're the only ones. I think that still stands.
Chelsea, didn't they? Did
Chelsea win? Did they win the game or did they draw it on the night? I feel like they drew it on the night.
I thought they won 2-1. I'm sure. Go on, and Dicko will tell us in a minute, because he's normally pretty good with his stats as well.
Yeah,
but we'll have a check in a minute.
I think it might have been 2-2 on the night with Chelsea.
Yeah, but it's at that point. Like, Barcelona don't lose at home very often. It is quite a rarity. They go. Dan J says Chelsea 2012. So I think that's where Gary Neville has an orgasm talking about Torres, which is both funny and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we won 2-1. I was pretty confident, thinking, wow, this is bloody good, isn't it? So now I was lucky. I managed to get a ticket to the second leg. So I was in the old main stand.
Lovely.
So more Annie Road end. So watching that, feeling pretty confident. And in the first couple of minutes, Risa hits the bar, and I'm thinking, we've got these now. It's game on. This is game on. And then
Momo.
Did Momo have a chance?
Momo hit the post as well. So I think Victor Valdez got the ball. He cleared it out to sort of in between the 18-yard box and the halfway line. And he was a bad clearance. And it fell to Mo. And he's hit it first time, side foot. And it's got Valdez beaten. It rattles off the post, if I'm not mistaken. Like that was, again, quite early in the first half. But we battered them that first half.
Yeah, but it's just the odd time, and this is Messi, who's only 19. He skinned Arbeloa, and it just went wide. You saw going, ooh. Now, so the second half, not a lot happened. We kept them quite controlled.
Yeah.
Until the last 15 minutes, where it's a good through ball. It's a good Johnson. Rangers in a bit of no man's land, and he jinks it round. And it is the ex-Chelsea player, Good Johnson, who we all quite enjoyed telling me was shit. And you know, I was hoping Alonso was going to snap him in half, which never quite happened.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a nervy last 15 because you were a bit like, don't need this. I think a couple of minutes ago, Gerrard gets a free kick just outside the box and he balloons it over. But look, we lost 1-0 on the night. We were through, and to be honest, you were a bit like, I fancy it feels on this year because I mean, beating Barcelona, you're like, right, this is definitely on now. Let's see who we get. And quarterfinals, we got PSV, who we'd already beaten home and away, and you were thinking like,
no, we drew them away. I'm pretty sure. In the group stage, I think we drew 0-0. I know we beat them 2-0.
Sorry,
2-0
you're right. 0-0. I see. He's good. That's why you have Callum. You know, he's got the memory
for it.
I
remember that? Do you know? I remember that because in the game at Anfield, Alex played for PSV at the time, and everyone was like, "Wow, this guy is brilliant. We need to sign him up." And then we all realised he was a Chelsea player. And that was sort of the first time where people were like, "Oh, Chelsea are using this loan system thing to buy players young or early, send them away on loan, then bring them back when they're ready." And I just remember watching Alex at Anfield, and he was just a machine. Like nothing was getting past him. And then I think Kaut played a through ball to Gerrard and he's hit. And I think he scored the opening goal, and then Kaut, I think, got the winner to make it 2-0 quite late on.
Yeah, so I was quite confident thinking, PSV, you know, let's get a score away from home and we'll be fine. And to be honest, within about 27 minutes, Steve hit across, then Gerrard with a header. He's knocking Crouch out of the way. No one's getting the header.
He's on Crouch almost, and Crouch is in the bent over position.
And I always remember the Liverpool highlights later because Phil Neely just shouts "yeah" because it's like great commentary. You're like great commentary that. But Steve Hunter makes out that Steven Gerrard is now the leading goal scorer in the European Cup for Liverpool, which you're thinking that's mad. That of all the players we've had in the European, I mean, he's still top at the moment. Yeah. I've got a feeling if Salah stays in a couple of years, he might overtake him. But
I think Salah's quite close to him already anyway.
Yeah. So you're sort of thinking like that could be the you know, that's A, how good Gerrard was, and B, how impressive Salah is because he's done it in such a short period of time. So, and this was I think it was a goal, wasn't it? The soon-to-be Spurs goalkeeper, wasn't it?
Aurelio Gomez.
Without his gum shield. He did that USA.
Yeah, you could see he wasn't the one in that game.
Yeah, he was a bit of an odd one. So 1-0 at half time in that canary yellow kit, which was I wasn't a fan of that kit, to be honest.
Oh, you didn't? I love that kit.
I preferred the third kit, the white one with the green shoulder.
Yes, I agree with you on that one.
I thought that was the nicest of the two kits. Yeah, it was all right, but it just wasn't quite my thing, really. But you know,
this is going to take you back a little bit. Do you know the one player that I remember that? So you see when you mentioned that green and white shirt, the first player I think of when I think of that shirt. Do you remember Paul Anderson?
Yeah.
He's the one I think of because he scored a friendly. He scored a goal in a friendly. Might have been against Wrexham pre-season, and we were wearing that kit, and I was like, "Yep, that kid's the next one. He's gonna break through." And then we never saw him. So he's the one I remember with that shirt.
Yeah. It's about what you think of. To be fair, I always think that is the Gerrard shirt for me. The yellow kit for me is I don't know. I always think of Reese in the yellow kit. That's possibly why I don't like it because I wasn't a massive John Henrisa fan. That may have been the issue.
Oh, we'll have to speak about that offline.
Yeah. My thing with Risa was I felt he should have gone after this season. He stayed a bit too long for me, and I think he became fucking Risa after this because that's all everyone used to say around the grounds is fuck's sake, fucking Risa. Because that was his react because he just lost his way like players do. Some players stay a bit longer, so he did his job, but you know. He had his limitations for me. But,
no, I hear you.
But after slagging him off, though, he scores an absolute beauty.
Yeah, cut across the ball, doesn't he? And he's gone in the top left-hand corner.
Yeah, no keeper saving
right.
Yeah, no keeper. The beauty and the frustration with Reese was he'd score goals like that, and you think, wow, what a goal. But then he'd try and do it every game, and you go like, John, you know, you're a left back, and also you're not expected to do that every game, But that's where it used to. I mean, Aga had that in him as well, where he used to try his shots from distance. You go like, stop it.
Yeah. The only difference is Aga's about 6'3", so no one's arguing with him, are they?
Well, tangent. Funniest story I've ever heard was I went to watch Liverpool against Tottenham. It was when Bobby Zamora played for Tottenham. Wow. And Bobby Zamora was battering Aga.
Oh, is it?
Turning him, twisted him, and you know how quiet Anfield can get.
Yeah.
And Carragher's not a quiet man. He grips Aga at one point, and he says, if he gets past you one more effing time, I am putting you in this effing stand. Zamora never got past him again. I don't know what it must be something about Carragher. He absolutely put the fear of God into Aga. And Aga had that in him, man. That's where I thought Aga lacked compared to a Hippier. He couldn't bully a Hippier. He could outpace him. I mean, Hippier was very good at hiding his lack of pace, but I always felt that was the problem with Aga. He was a bit of a soft touch. I used to have the same fear with Matip when he first joined. That you could bully him. He's a bit of a soft touch, and he learned to got that out of his game quite quickly. Yeah. Matip. It's unfortunately both of them sadly have got fitness issues.
Yeah, such a shame.
So then I was like 2-0 away from home in Europe, sat in the pub with my mates going, box this. And then Stephen again for Peter Crouch with yet another header. I mean, look, Peter Crouch, he's a bit of a meme sometimes. People think he's this and he's that, but Peter Crouch in Europe, no one liked playing against him. European sides weren't used to players like him. He's quite unique, a technically gifted forward, but he was just massive.
Yeah.
If anything, he probably didn't use his height well enough attacking-wise.
Yeah. I actually feel sorry for Crouchy because I think, again, this would come down to the whole squad thing again. I genuinely believe if he stayed when we had, because I know he stayed with one season with Torres. If he had stayed another season when we had Torres, that was the 08-09 season he left at the beginning of that. I think we win the league if Crouch is still there.
Yeah, he does say, he was interviewed saying, what's your biggest regret? And he says leaving Liverpool. And he said he got into the England side. And I can understand from his point of view. He goes, I got into that. I'm not getting ahead of Gerrard or Torres. He said, I can't be sitting on the bench because I'll never play. And I'll lose my England spot. And he goes, ironically, he said, I then watched Liverpool that year, he said, lads who weren't as good as me were playing because Torres had a bad injury record that year. And you're like sort of going, yeah. And he's like going, shit. But you never know, do you? Because, he could have stayed in that. Torres never gets injured. He said, they're going, it was an unfortunate one. But yeah, I liked Crouch. I mean, he was quite divisive because, my father-in-law can't stand him. It was made up that he went. I think it was an aesthetics thing. Just didn't like how he played. Whereas I was like, he just gives you something different. I think the fact he went 20 games without scoring probably did him for some people. But it was one of them. I was like, I quite like Crouch. So we pretty much battered. It sounds weird, but the quarterfinal was a bit of a piece of piss compared to the last 16. So we come to the Anfield game. I didn't go to the Anfield game because I think I couldn't get the time off. But we rested loads. We had Gerrard on the bench. Carragher wasn't in the squad. I think it was Fowler and Crouch up front. So it was quite rested. It was a routine 1-0 Crouch.
Oh, was it Crouch? I thought. Robbie set Crouch up.
Robbie sets him off. Yeah, Robbie he wasn't the Robbie of old, but he was the perfect fourth striker. He basically became what Littman was in 2001. Yeah, you just put him into the games that you just need a bit of experience, a bit of class, and it helped really. And if Bellamy was having a bad game, or having a rough moment, you could throw Fowler for a couple of weeks. It's kind of that squad rotation thing we need. I think Rafa realised we just needed a bit of a finisher. Yeah, because that's the one thing probably pre-Christmas we were struggling a bit to get a strike, get someone who's just someone what we needed. So, semi-final time, and it was bloody Chelsea again. And this is when we played Chelsea
every single day. It felt like.
Oh yeah, we're something mad. In 4 years, we played them 20 times because we played them in the FA Cups, Champions League, played in the group stage in 2006 because of
that group stage in 2006. I don't know if you remember, but Essien took out Harman. I think it was at Stamford Bridge. One of the most horrific tackles I've seen, and I don't even think he got a yellow for it.
I think he eventually got booked because Mourinho said, we moaned enough to get him booked. He said, look, he stayed on the pitch.
Goodness, he's lucky he didn't break Haaland's leg. Terrible.
Chairman of the board, Yari's mullet. I mean, it was a cracking haircut, to be fair. Yari had. Another one you always wish you signed a few years earlier. But
yes,
it is what it is. So we went to now. Listen, Chelsea away. Even under Rafa, I hated Chelsea away because Chelsea away was horrible, especially Mourinho. Because I mean, his record was ridiculous. You know, his first 2-3 years, and he lost like one game in the cup to Charlton, which for somehow doesn't count in his head. But you know, so you're like
a lot doesn't in Mourinho's head, though, does it?
I always felt as a game we didn't really turn up. We went there for a 0-0, and you know, but basically Joe Cole got to run clean through past Arbeloa, doesn't touch him, doesn't hold on to him, and he has a good tap in. You know, Joe Cole had a habit of scoring against us. You know, he was that sort of player for them. He was keeping an eye on Robin out the side, which says something about that Chelsea team. But you were just sort of looking at it going, 1-0 down because it's the perfect result for Chelsea. Goal advantage, no away goal. We just take a draw now at Anfield, and their record at Anfield wasn't great. So you're sort of going, we have given ourselves something to do. But I mean, you look at that Chelsea team. I mean, just people forget. I mean, people think Chelsea are good now. The team they had back then was Petr Cech in goal, Ashley Cole, Ricardo Carvalho, Paulo Ferreira, John Terry, Claude Makelele, the inventor of the DM role, Frank Lampard, John Obi Mikel, Joe Cole, Andriy, I remember him vaguely, Shevchenko and Drompa. That's just ridiculous. And they're able to bring off the bench Kalu, who was a bit of a lucky charm for them. He always seemed to score good goals. And Sean Wright-Phillips, I mean, I'd argue they probably ruined Sean Wright-Phillips' career. Yeah.
But even then, it was like Sean Wright-Phillips was 24 million at a time just to go and sit on their bench. And 24 million was a hell of a lot of money then.
Yeah, it'd be like us signing Naby Keita. Oh, sorry, no, we won't talk about that.
It'd be like Arsenal signing Pepe, literally.
Yeah.
On the bench.
Yeah, I was thinking like signing Naby Keita sitting on the bench, but he doesn't even do that these days, sadly.
He doesn't.
No.
He doesn't need to do that.
Oh, that's my Twitter DMs going off later, isn't it? Never, Matt. I'll just
It'll probably be Matt.
He's got a baby to look after. He's fine. Yeah. Oh, congrats to Matt, by the way.
Yes, indeed.
Second child. So good news. So now I was lucky again. I got my granddad knew someone in Liverpool at the time, so we managed to get tickets. And me, my granddad, and my brother went to the Chelsea one. And this is what I always say: these are the nights I love, where you go to Anfield and it's still light.
Yes.
And then it goes dark halfway through the first half. They're like the perfect night games because it starts like a nice summer's day.
Yeah.
And then goes into darkness. So again, look, I got there early and it was bouncing. It wasn't 2005 bouncing. I still maintain that's probably the best atmosphere I've ever sat in. I sadly didn't go to Barcelona 4-0, so I would assume that's probably right. That would rival it. But yeah, it was lively, it was fun, and it was hostile. And Chelsea, look, some of the Chelsea players I think learned from 2005. It's a hostile atmosphere. We need to be different there. So team wise, look, it's the usual back four at the time, which is Carragher, Agger, Risa and Steve Finnan. Then Gerard Mascherano played. Jermaine Pennant started on the right, and Pennant played quite a lot. Yeah, he did. He's a weird player because he had some brilliant games where he frustrated the life out of me at times as well. Bolo Zenden started, ex-Chelsea man, and then Crouch and Count. So you look at that and you're going, on the bench you've got like Arbeloa, you've got Hippier, Gonzalez, Xavi Alonso is a bench player, which says it all. Robbie Fowler, Craig Bellamy. So that's a decent bench. The problem for Liverpool was they could never name that decent bench often enough because of lack of cover. But some people will be surprised Xavi Alonso on the bench. I maintain with Xavi Alonso, and he had 5 years at Liverpool.
That was his worst season.
I would maintain he had 3 good years and 2 average ones. This one was average, and the year after, and everyone talks about how could Rafa try and sell him. It's because of these 2 years.
Thank you, Chris.
And because of that,
you said that.
And unfortunately, because no one wanted him to go, we all loved Agger. We all loved Alonso, but he had 2 average years, and I think that in a weird way gave him a kick up the arse. But he was brilliant in his last season for Liverpool, and then he left, which was a shame.
Because I remember going into that game, and a lot of the commentary was saying, how is Liverpool's middle two, sort of in Gerrard and Mascherano, going to be able to cope with Chelsea's midfield three of Makelele, Mikel, and Lampard? And I just remember thinking, Mascherano and Gerrard, yeah, I think we'll be all right, guys. And
yeah. But again, the way off the ball though, Zenden would tuck in,
yeah,
make it a 3, and Kaut
would just
fill in out wide, which eventually became Kaut's position. He went from being a striker to a wide player because Kaut was busy. He still hadn't scored yet for Liverpool in the Champions League, but he was busy. Crouch had to play because he was the informed striker, and quite frankly, Chelsea didn't like playing against him. But Chelsea-wise, look, I think they named this almost same 11. They brought Kalu in for Shevchenko. I think Shevchenko was injured, so I think that's why he didn't appear in it. So you look at that going, right, see what happens. And over a couple of minutes, Joe Cole takes out Gerrard, and he takes him out quite late. He's a lucky boy not to get booked. So you're like, okay, good. So you're thinking that, right, Gerrard will whip a free kick in there. Yeah. And it's a great free kick. Slow across the floor, and it's Agger, top of the area. Beautiful finish. And if you haven't seen it, it's a great team goal, but Agger's reaction makes it because he's just pumped. And the ground went off. The ground, you could feel the ground shaking. It was just like you were pumped. This is a 10 times better game than 2005. 2005 had more emotion in it. This is a much better game. Liverpool felt they weren't on par with Chelsea, but Liverpool could have games where they could look like they're on par with Chelsea and compete with Chelsea. Whereas, 2005, it felt like, how are we doing this? This was like, well, we can do this. We don't do it enough.
Yeah.
But you're a bit like, this is what we're going to do. And then we just couldn't get that second goal. Yeah. I think Kaut has a great chance in the second half, and Cech, was still brilliant. I think Cech had his headgear on by this point, didn't he?
Yeah. Was that the second half, or was that in extra time? Because I know we had a goal. He had a goal disallowed in extra time.
Yeah, I was coming to that. So I was in line with that, and he looks level. So bang on.
Half time when you need it.
Yeah, the lines will be too thin anyway, so you can get it. So it's Alonso takes a shot. It's blocked, and as it's blocked, he looks level, falls the count, and he rifles it. And to us, we all think that's it. We're done. Champions League, here we come. And then he disallows it. I've seen the replay. He looks level to me. How if he's off, it's marginal. I mean, look, our linesman sees it. Possibly we'll talk of Mourinho's ghost goal. We don't want another ghost goal. Just that sort of stuff playing in his mind. Possibly. But it was so you're going right. Let's see what happens. So, I mean, sub-wise, look, Chelsea bring on Ian Robin in 98th minute. They bring on Sean Wright Phillips 117, and they bring on Jeremy for 2 minutes to go. You can see where Jeremy's
to take a penalty.
Yeah, and we bring on Xavi. Came on with like 20 to go in the second half. We bring on Bellamy for Crouch with about 10 minutes to go. Makes sense. Crouch doesn't take penalties. Well,
at pace as well.
Yeah, but also Crouch and penalties. We all remember his
the Jamaica one.
Jamaica one. Do you hear a story about his Wigan one? Was it Wigan one? He hadn't scored for Liverpool yet, and and he took a penalty off Gerrard, and Gerrard said let him do it.
Yeah,
and he got saved, and he says like he got hounded by Rafa for being disrespectful. He said, "I picked the penalty taker. You don't disrespect my decision. I tell you the penalty takers." He then ripped into Gerrard saying, "You're the captain. I've told you the rules. What are you doing?" Crouch always says that. He says, "I've never been so
all over in it."
But in fairness, I'm with Rafa there because I'm like, if the manager tells you you're the penalty taker, you're the penalty taker. It's like Alonso in 2005. He wouldn't have been my pick for the penalty taker, but that's who the manager's pick. So, Klopp says that himself. He goes, "I pick the penalty taker. If they miss, it's on me." And you go,
fair enough. Yeah,
fair enough. So what's that? At least it didn't cost us, unlike Chelsea in 05. Okay, I'm not quite sure what that's referring to. We'll come to that in a minute. And then we brought on Robbie Fowler with 2 minutes to go. Again, thinking we're going to go for the penalties. So coin toss is done. And it's at the Anfield Road end, so it's in front of the Chelsea and Liverpool fans, which was like, partly I was gutted. I was like, oh shit, you went from the Kop, but then I was more the Annie Road end of main stand, so I was actually made up. So I thought I've got a better view of the penalties. Selfish me thinking this is all right. I can give it to Chelsea fans. I can see them as well. This is great. So first Bolo's ended. Must admit, I was a bit
against his old club as well.
Chelsea man, old club. You're thinking, oh, this is written. Buries it. Better is it? Czech's got no chance for it. Ian Robin steps up next, and he doesn't look happy. I thought you'd have got a more experienced penalty taker than Ian Robin, and it's a good save by Renner. It's a good height. He doesn't really he reads it, but he doesn't have to work hard, does he? Really?
Robin's never been a great penalty taker, though.
No,
never been his thing. I think he missed. Didn't he miss one in the Chelsea Bayern shootout as well?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So he's never been the most.
Some players aren't. Look, Sterling's got that reputation, but Torres is never. As good as Torres, he's not a penalty taker. Ian Rush, he's not a penalty taker. Some it's mad, but some striker attackers just don't fancy it.
Yeah.
So it's one of them. Here you go. Austin said what he's on. As explained, said he's referring to the Count Dislago in 2007 and our goal scored in 2005. I see what you mean. Yeah. Us not getting it didn't cost us. I see where he's coming from now. So you're like, so then Alonso steps up. Check gets the right way, but you never, and I'm looking at juice the flow now. You're thinking, right, Lampard steps up and quite frankly, he just smashed it.
Yeah, he knew he was going to score.
There are certain things.
The middle, didn't he?
Yeah, he smashed it. Rain, it just goes through Rayner. I think if he caught it, he'd have gone in with it.
Yeah.
So, and then Steve Gerrard's out, and the whole crowd chants Steven Gerrard's because he's getting dogs abuse from the Chelsea fans because obviously he nearly went there. Yeah. They're quite upset he's not gone there, and Czech goes the wrong way, and he's gives the glare to the Chelsea fans, a little kiss to the crowd, and just a strong walk back. So he's sort of going, "We're sorted here."
I love that man. I really love that man.
Yeah, so that's what I like to hear. So that's all good. And then Jeremy steps up. Now, listen, Jeremy, you've got one job to do. You're brought on with 2 minutes to go. You're an experienced player. You're here for the penalty. It's a good save. But I must admit, we couldn't stop laughing. You're like, you brought him on, and that's all he's there for. Now, it sounds weird. Kaut steps up, and everyone around me was like disappointed it was Kaut because we all thought it'd be Robbie scoring the winner.
Yeah.
Because I kind of thought, well, Robbie never got the 2001 winner, so maybe Robbie gets the winner. But apparently Robbie was there for the fifth, the important one. And it's a weird one, the fifth one, because we've seen it where I think Ronaldo for Portugal, he was on fifth penalty, but they never gets to that. So, because you see that iconic image later of Gerrard and Fowley arm over each going like, and this Dirk Kuyt up until probably his last season didn't miss penalties.
Oh goodness. Ice in his veins with penalties.
Yeah, he's like James Milner. He steps up a penalty, he's like, it's a goal. So actually, when he missed
than Millie.
Yeah. So when he missed a couple, probably in his last season, you're always a bit like, wow, we don't see this. But I think Mills only ever missed one. Yeah. So, but when he stepped off, he was like, and then that was it. Then we're like, we've done it again. We're off to Athens. This is mad. This is brilliant.
Yeah, I remember that period where. Because I think Gerrard was speaking about it because we obviously won the penalty shootout in the FA Cup final as well. And he said that Pepe Reina coming into the club elevated all of those players when they're taking penalties because obviously he was such a good penalty taker that they'd practice penalties and Reina would tell them guys where to put a penalty, which makes it impossible for the goalkeeper to save it. So if you actually look at all the penalties we scored against Czech, they're all unsavable. Not one of them could be saved. Even Kaut's winner, he goes the right way, but it's so far in the corner, it's like you're not saving it. So it just goes iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, I agree. Which is that sometimes I always wonder because Ali's not got a good. If you go to our current squad, we've got probably one of the best keepers in the world. Ali, he's not a great penalty saver. It's mad how some players aren't.
But they miss a lot of penalties against Ali. I remember Mahrez has missed one. Gundogan missed. I think they tried.
They tried too hard.
Miss one.
Yes.
So it's like players miss because they know he's so good, though. So it's a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah, but weirdly, when you watch him back, he very rarely gets near him.
Yeah,
that's always making me laugh.
I remember him saving his Jorginho this season.
Yeah, which I'm always a fan of James when he does that little stupid jump before the kick. I hate it. It's cocky. It's arrogant. I'm like, I love it when those ones get saved. So it's like people who do a Panenka. They're great when they go in. They're so funny when they fail.
Oh, Adamola Lookman this season. Oh, that was bad.
The worst one I saw, I think it was, I can't remember the guy's name. I think it's for a championship semi-final playoff. Last kick of the game. And he chips and the keeper just goes, thanks very much.
Oh, goodness me. I'd only ever try Panenka if we were like 3-0 up with 2 minutes to go. I'd never do it otherwise.
Yeah. Steve O'Connor says Alisson makes up with headers, though. It's very true. He's the only goalkeeper who scored a winning header in the Premier League game.
Maybe that's why we're not going to buy a striker this summer, because we just think, we'll throw Kelleher in goal for the last 10 and put Ali up top.
I'll be all right with that.
100% accuracy with goal scoring Ali at the moment. So who better?
Listen, as great as that was, I don't want to see that every week. Not sure my heart can take it, really. That was it. Ali A pointed out brilliantly Aguero's against Chelsea, which interestingly proved crucial.
Yeah, it did. Because Chelsea got top four.
Chelsea got top four. I would have put a bit of doubt in City because they still haven't beaten Tuchel.
Yes,
because the only time they could beat Chelsea was when they had Fat Frank in charge. And that's not. It's basically having not really a manager in charge. So
just letting the players go out there and have fun.
Yeah, that just play your best, lads. So, so I must admit, I was overly confident for this, which makes the final so hard. And I'll openly admit, my younger brother had to console me. I was in floods of tears. I was devastated. I'm a bloody 20-odd-year-old man, and I'm crying my eyes out. I couldn't get my head around that we'd lost. And I do wonder if deep down, I wonder if I thought, I'm not sure we're going to be coming back. Now, literally, we did get Torres, but there were signs sort of going, that seems at its peak now. It's ready for tweaks to it. And you're like, I was never quite sure. But actually, I generally thought we were a better side in 2007. And listen, that Milan side was still a great side. But there were weaknesses at the back. And this is where, look, Rafa's got some questions to ask on this. And we'll go into it. I think he got the lineup wrong. But I think too many senior players didn't turn up when you need them to. So, Crouch is your top goal scorer in the competition, and you don't start him. Yeah. We went to a 4-4-1-1. Now, listen, Jermaine Pennant, he does get man the match.
He had a good game that game.
He had a good game, but man the match. And
I actually agreed with that. I thought
my frustration was 2 good chances fell to him, and half decent winger scores them.
Yeah,
and they were right at the keeper. Dirk out right at the keeper. So that's why I thought Crouch should have started. I also think he got my personal opinions. I think we get the subs wrong, but we go 1-0 down. I'm still convinced it's handball.
Yeah, it is.
Where's bloody VAR? Because actually, to be fair, it's Liverpool. If they'd given it anyway, they'd probably give us the penalties to make sure. But it's mad. Inzaghi wasn't even in the squad in 2005. I'm pretty certain he was at the club, which is.
I think he was in the squad. I don't think he came on though.
Yeah, which I think's mad because it's Inzaghi.
Yeah,
that's what he does.
They did have Crespo and Shevchenko.
Yeah, but when they took Crespo off, I'd have put Inzaghi over Yondal Thomason. Personally.
Yeah, I would have as well, to be fair.
So yeah, that killed us. We were actually keeping Kaká pretty quiet because we had Javier Mascherano. So we'd fixed the problem in 2005, which is we had someone who could control him. We had Gerrard in the more advanced role. We brought Harry Kewell on. Harry Kewell had a decent year that year. He was fitter.
Yeah.
The final didn't really work out for him. My big gripe was, the 2 big gripes I had was, he brought Crouch on, probably too late, for Mascherano. Now, Mascherano's on a yellow, and I get that. For me, he should have took Alonso off, because Alonso was piss poor. And he was really poor by his standards. And to me, Mascherano's an experienced player. You can say to him, don't get a second yellow. Yeah. And quite a lot of players there, and you could have dropped Gerrard back into the middle to do the Alonso bits.
Yeah.
I think that then allowed Kaká more freedom, and then 10 minutes to go, I think he puts the ball through to Inzaghi again, rounds Reina. It's pretty much final over.
Yeah.
And then this is, unfortunately, you live by the sword, you die by the sword, Rafa. 2 minutes to go, Finnan gets an injury, and he puts Arbeloa on. And you sat there looking, going, you've got Robbie Fowler, and you've got Craig Bellamy on the bench, and you 2-0 down. You may as well just throw one. I'd rather lose 3-0 having a go than not. Yeah. And I always think I hate it because it's Couch's first goal, but the the one goal we get, it's with a minute to go. Yeah. It's a flick on.
Crouch.
Good Crouch, good finish. So instead of going, Crouch, you should have started, sets up the guy to score the goal, and you're going, And everyone's going like, do you think we'll do it? Do you think we'll do it? And I'm sort of, it just never felt. I thought we did well to get one. It took us 89 minutes to get one. And you never quite felt it was going. So it was it was really, really, really dejected because I thought we'd played better that final.
100%.
And we had a better squad and better side, but little fine margins don't go for you. And look, it's easy in hindsight to say Rafa should do this, Rafa should do that. So it's quite hard. I mean, look, it was an aging side, and we really should have took advantage of them. And I would have even have said, and you'd probably sacrilege at the time saying, I'd rather started Crouch and Bellamy.
Yeah,
Bellamy's pace
I would have killed him.
Pace would have killed because we saw Pennant. He didn't use his pace properly, but he should have done something. And then Crouch should have called him a nightmare. And there was talk that the officials have been told to clamp down on Crouch's climbing. And it was a thing in Europe, I think in World Cups, that Crouch climbs play. I mean, Crouch got fouled a lot and actually got away with a lot of it. But it was really, really, really frustrating. And Dicko says we deserve 2007 more than 2005. Yeah, we do. I mean,
it's swapped around, isn't it? Because AC Milan deserved 2005 and we deserve 2007, and we won the opposite.
I mean, not to be bitter, should AC Milan even have been in the competition?
Was it? Who did they? Oh, yes, it's a scandal at the time.
This was the scandal. So Juventus got relegated into Serie C?
Serie B, I think.
Yeah, so they got relegated, and the talk was they were AC Milan getting banned from Europe, and then eventually their ban just became a fine. I mean, supposing your chairman's the Italian president, I'm not saying he had influence, but
are you going to be surprised?
No. So
because look at the moment, Juve, three teams at the moment who haven't been punished because of the ESL, and that punishment's been postponed until further notice.
So they can play it. So they can play, yeah. I mean, let's face it. What do we get fined? 20 million between six of us.
Yeah, that's crazy. Isn't it?
It's like you me getting fined a tenner, isn't it? Oh, okay. Sorry, I won't do it again. Here's me
sorry about that.
Sorry about that, lads. He's 15. I feel really sorry about it.
Absolute joke.
So, Fergie's son says, "Have a blessed evening, lads. Callum, great work as per usual, mate. Take care, mate." Cool. I thought I was quite good as well, but clearly not. No, so
you're brilliant.
Yeah, so yeah. Look, to us, we know it's a bit of a downer, but I always say, you've got to remember that there are some great games there. Look, the Barcelona win still sticks to me, and that Chelsea semi-final, both of them in my head. Really sticking my head. £10 is a lot of money if you're an Everton fan. It says chairman of the board. No, apparently they're the richest club in the league, so probably not. They're just not allowed to spend it, apparently.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. I don't know if it's. I haven't checked on my phone.
I'm seeing a lot of that in the chat.
Jordan Henson has just got an MBE. I'm assuming that's for his work with the NHS.
Yeah, I should hope so. He's done a bloody lot this year.
Yeah, I mean, having seen his documentary, it sounds like he does a lot of work anyway. Behind the scenes, which is not highlighted, which is kind of what charity work is for.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some people who are captains and don't do anything when the chips are down. But naming no names, but he's media's favourite at number 9, quite big. What I mean. Norman says Chris top man. So that's why I like Norman.
There we go.
We've got my burner accounts. Cool. So if you do me admin, I should have done it earlier. If you can smash the like button, it much appreciated. We are now on the race to 20k. We're trying to catch up Coppish, who are flying at the moment, as always, because they're good content. So yeah, look, if you like what we do, please like it, please subscribe, share it with people. It's great. But the most important thing is Sienna Steps. If you haven't seen it, go onto our Twitter page. We have got the link to it there for the GoFundMe. If you do send super chats for this month, we are sending out all that to Sienna's, but as I've been told, it's best to do it for the GoFundMe page because obviously all the money then goes to Sienna. Look, we need to get this girl to 120k. I am wearing the new merch, so we have got merch on our website now. So new designs all the time. I think I've got the Kenny t-shirts upstairs.
Beautiful
We've got
merch.
cups.
I was gonna say beautiful merch, by the way. I've had a look on the store. I might grab myself some stuff as well.
Yeah, and we've also got the Sienna t-shirts and hats and everything like that. So if you buy any of the Sienna stuff, that all goes to her. It doesn't come to us. We're going to keep plugging this and pushing this until we can get Sienna to the 120k. So if you can't give, just retweet it, share it, spread the word. That's all we ask for. So there we go. Avo, Chris Brack, Don of Murdershaw, massive. That's someone I know from Runcorn. So I'm actually don't live in Murdershaw anymore, but thanks for So Callum's now got to Google it. Going, you live in called Murder Show.
Yeah, Murder. I was thinking, Chris, an underground killer.
It's actually a real place. It's actually quite nice though. It's just got a very odd name, which scares the bejesus out of people, which is always good fun. So, Callum, if people don't know now, where can everyone find you?
So you can find me over on Team Coppish at Callum Sanderson on all social media platforms. So yeah, and obviously you can find me here on a Friday night for the next few weeks. Yes,
you will. So Sean has asked, are you doing enough one? We've got 4 more of these to do. Can you believe it's 4 more? Yeah, so because we've done 2007, and obviously it's quite a sad ending. Me and Callum thought it was Callum's idea. We'll do Basel next. Why not? What? Let's really go down to Basel so you can hear stories about me and my brother getting into almost a physical altercation on his stag do in
Murdershaw.
No, it wasn't in Murdershaw. We're in Budapest for his stag do. When we drew a game and I said we could still get to the final, I was told I was delusional. It's amazing what a stag do and drink can do. Well, that's a mad drunk. It's got some great games here, but we start with one manager and end up with the man we've got now.
Yeah,
and
crazy run that was.
And the players, I mean, it's typical of Liverpool. The players that we miss in most of the tournament. Henderson barely plays because of injuries. Emre Can, we think ends this season, makes a miraculous recovery for the semi-final. In the semi-finals alone, something to talk about. I mean, we'll talk about how you beat Villarreal, which it's not as easy as you would think for some teams, but we won't go into that. So
we will next week.
That's my socials blowing up, isn't it? It's all good humor anyway. So I think it is anyway. So here we go. Question for you then. Joshua asked, does Genie deserve legend status at the club? We can have a little chat about Genie as well before we go, because you may have it offline. I've had a lovely debate about Genie, so we can bring it up and let's see what happens. I'm sure I'll have Drifty coming after me now.
Legend status. It's so. I know I'm going to sort of scoot around the question there, but it's really hard to just say yes or no to this, because when I think of club legends, I think of Kenny, John Barnes, Gerrard. Those are the sort of 3. Ian Rush, Robbie Fowler. And here's the thing. Robbie Fowler's the one I look at a lot when I think of Genie, because Robbie Fowler didn't win loads. I mean, towards the latter years in 2001, obviously he won everything apart from the Premier League and Champions League. But you wouldn't say he was a mainstay in the team, whereas Genie has been a mainstay in the team since he's been at Liverpool, and he's been part of some massive moments that have allowed us to be the force that we are at the moment. I'm going to say yes.
Yeah. See, you took ages to go. I just said yeah. I think if you're an integral part of a side that wins you a Champions League and then wins you the league the following year after a 30-year wait, I think he deserves legend status. And if you're one of these biffs on Twitter who just say he doesn't do it, he hasn't got an assist in 3 years and all that sort of crap, get in the bin.
Yeah.
As I always say to it, stats are helpful in context. The idea is people use stats, use them to contextualize what we do. Some I think some will do it for a rise, but it's just like So the Genie situation is there's a lot of talk about Genie's going to come out with the truth. You're going to find out after the Euros what the truth is. I know what the truth is. He wanted to stay. Liverpool offered him a contract. He wanted more money or a longer contract. Liverpool said, "This is what we're offering you." He went, "I don't want that. I'll have something else." Case closed. Yeah. It's as simple as that, And people get quite upset, and I've seen the argument, if Klopp wants him to stay, he should stay. My only counter argument, and I'm not saying I believe this, but quite a lot of people do say Klopp is far too loyal. He's too loyal to players. He should get rid of players sooner. He should get rid of players when they're not in the peak. So if it's true, I'm not saying it is, if it is true that Klopp is far, far too loyal to players, then haven't the club done the right thing in letting a player go that they are going, we have the stats to say he can't maintain this level any further as a regular 38 game a season starter. I would argue he'd be good as a squad player, but they've got over his head and said, we will keep him for this level, but above this level of pay, we'll bring somebody else in, which is, I'm hoping, is what Liverpool will do.
Yeah.
So that's the argument. I know we all like Genie, and I get why we like Genie. If it was me, I'd have kept Genie and said to him, you're only going to play 25 league games next year because we're going to rotate you a lot more, because we're going to have more options. That's what I would have done. Unless the club have gone, but we can get a younger option in who can do similar, but also we're going to evolve how we play. So we can't keep all the 30-year-olds in.
I get where you're coming from. Now, the problem I think that the fan base has, or that a lot of the fan base has, should I say, is the reason why they're up in arms with Genie leaving is because he seems to be the first one to leave. But you look at the likes of Ox, Naby, who barely play, they're still at the club, are making way more money than he is, and haven't been half as integral to Liverpool as he has. And then they've also got Milner, who has been integral, but is aging and is much older and isn't the player he used to be, doesn't have the legs he used to have. I think his availability is a problem because the others aren't as readily available. That's the problem. I think if we had three other... Because let's be honest, since Genie's been at the club, Klopp's tried to replace him twice.
So it's not like... as much as Klopp says he loves Genie and Genie's this and Genie's that, he tried to get Fekir, which was either Genie or Hendo he was replacing. Yeah. And Keita was there. I get where people are coming... And Ox, yeah. I get where people are coming saying, why those players still at the club. There's a reason they're still at the club and Genie isn't. One is Genie's got a crap agent because how his agent didn't get into a contract negotiation 2 years ago when everybody else got one.
He should have got one after the semi-final in Champions League.
Exactly. But why his agent isn't getting him that sorted is one question. But two is, maybe the club do want to get rid of Ox and Naby, but the problem is they've got 5-year contracts and they're only 3 years into them, whereas Genie is already at the end of his contract. It's a bit of a... Same with Milner. Milner's got 1 year left. And for what you'd sell Milner for, you'd get piss all anyway. Yeah, so you may all have his experience. I think the plan this year for Milner was for him to be... They're not the same players, but a Ryan Giggs, as in his last 3 or 4 years for United, Fergie used to bring him on for the last 20 minutes to see games out or to use him in cup games. I think that was Milner's role this year.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, because we had nobody else fit, he played a lot more than he probably should have done.
Yeah.
For his age. So that's why it's frustrating. Kevin Sullivan asks on Oxanabi, who's coming in for him? Milner offers a lot off the pitch. I think that's the issue. I think one of Naby or Ox will go. My gut feeling is it's Naby.
I thought that. I don't think they're going.
I don't think they're going to get pushed out the door. I think Liverpool have got a value in their mindset. If this is values met, then it's fair dues. If not, maybe they're just going to say we can get them fit and we can get them working again.
Maybe. I mean, I would sell both. If you force me to say who you're keeping out of the two, before I'd have said Keita, now I'd actually say Ox.
I think he'll keep... The reason I think he keeps Ox is 2 reasons. One is the homegrown thing. And
more
at least more impactful. Because Ox can, and we've seen it, when he was used sub, he was used wide left, wide right, false 9. Actually, he did quite well false 9, and he can play centre mid. Yeah. In fairness to Naby Keita, he can only really play centre mid. I know he has played left midfield, but realistically, he is a very good central midfielder. And that's not a criticism. That's where he is. But I don't think the Klopp wants to risk a central midfielder who's a bit worried about his injury status, whereas he can risk a winger.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we are. Look, listen, if they both stay and both stay fit and do well for us, cracking. I'll be made up.
Yeah.
Like everyone, you're skeptical. But look, it's a long summer, and just to be clear to everyone I've seen people losing their shit over transfers. It only opened Wednesday.
Yeah,
and
still
only us and Aston Villa have actually bought anyone. Yeah. We've already solved one problem of the last season, which is we now have a centre back.
Yeah.
So we now have 5 centre backs at the club, as opposed to last year. That way. Yeah. Whereas before we had 3. I think we go into the season with 5. Whether it's the 5 we've got now, I don't know whether there might be a swap with one of them going. But you know, we will cross that bridge when we come to it. But listen, Callum, thank you very much for coming over from Coppish. It is much appreciated. Thanks you to everyone in the chat. Thank you for all your feedback. So listen, if you've got any feedback on the show, if you've got any other things you'd like me to add into the show, drop it in the Discord group or send me a note on Twitter. You know, all feedback is welcome as long as it's constructive, good or bad. I don't mind as long as it's constructive. But yeah, so the plan next week, it'll definitely be me and Callum next week, and we may have one more. And next week we're going to talk about the road to Basel because it was mental. But I promise you, after the Basel one, we'll pick one where we won it as well, because you know I can't keep going to the downers because it'll finish you off, you know. But on the other side, you know, if in doubt, watch the Italian game, because apparently the Italian will make you both sit down and stand up. Until then, I will see you all next Friday.
Smash the like, people.